Yeah.
Oh no!
Matt, what the hell was that?
Wasn't me, Coach. Welcome to the Straight Red Card. Get off our lawn.
Welcome to the Straight Red Card. Welcome back, I should say, for most of you. Yeah, so we're going to cover a little bit of the Ham Sandwich Cup today, just a little bit. And being that we didn't have a winner, which is weird, you have this big thing called the Ham Sandwich Cup, and there's no winner in it. You don't even make the guys at least decide the game on a cockfight or something.
They've split the sandwich. You have half, they get half.
Who gets the top with all the lettuce, tomatoes, and all that stuff, and their bottom gets the meat and the cheese, right?
I imagine it would just be cut down the middle, and you each get ham, and you get cheese and lettuce and whatever.
Oh, so just cut it down the middle, put a toothpick in it, and say, "Here's your half of the ham sandwich, buddy."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just
Right.
make sure you take the toothpick out.
Okay. Your other way of doing it didn't seem as like it was going to work as well.
You get the soggy piece of bread with lettuce. I get the ham and cheese with the other bread, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like you turds. I don't know. Should that be the name of the people who watch our show? The turds? I don't think so. But I do like. What are they called? The Red Carders? I don't know. I know there's about a battalion of you out there that are very dedicated to the show. For that, I'm very thankful.
We always tend to lean right into the battalion aspect, don't we?
Yeah, we do. Except when we were leading the BYB, what did we have? We got up to like 4,000 people in membership. And now I guess they're down to like 1,000. So they need to fix that. Hey, that's what happens when you lose the leaders. That's what happens. The turd in the background says, "Welcome to the Straight Red Card. What a game last night. Jesus needed divine intervention to not fuck up that."
Sorry.
Like
Sorry,
that?
Turd. Didn't mean to do that.
To not fuck up that tap in, right? Happy 420 to all you hippies. My wife is sucking someone's doobie. All right, that's good. That's good. Hey, I also want to thank Al Weinstein, Al, if you're out there, for while I was half naked watching Pete and watching the game and then watching Pete and Tact do their commentary. Everybody's like, when Pete leaves, Al's like, he actually paid, I think, $1.99 of a super chat to say, when Pete leaves, you got to have Derek on the show to Tact. And then, other people said, yes.
Shouldn't you like lying on the couch half naked?
Yes. I'm like, fuck, I don't want to go on the show right now. I'm ready to go to bed, man.
Yeah.
And besides, there's nothing that can pep this game up. Not even my jovial balls. So I just ignored it. I actually stopped commenting so people would think I was gone.
You brought him up, so let's go ahead and bring up this real quick. There's no reason not to, I guess.
What, we got something about Tack or Pete?
No,
Ow! For Derek. My cat breath smells like cat food. No shit.
I responded, said, shame Derek is heartless and let the cat freezing alone and hungry. All it wanted was a can of tuna, and he yelled at it, told it to get a job.
Is that what this is a reference to from Al?
Yeah. Al was team let the cat in.
Yeah, I haven't seen the cat since, but Al, if it makes you feel any better, I owned one cat that lived for 22 years. His name was El Cid, but we all called him Sid, Let him in. Ooh, yeah, let him in, baby. Boop, 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 boop.
All right, before we get too far into it, Derek, I want to show the cards to everybody.
Oh, shit.
I know there's only 36 of you, but one of you 36 will probably win. There's a good one.
Sister Susie, boop-a-doo, Brother John, boop-a-doo.
Oh, that seems to be on all of those. Like. Here's number two.
Who can name that song?
Number 3.
Uncle Ernie.
And number 4. And you are not showing it, Brett. Jesus. Okay. So here, no, don't look.
Oh, fuck.
I said, well, I wasn't showing it the entire time.
Oh.
Sorry, guys. Here's number 4.
Brett's just staring at it on his own screen.
I'm looking at it on my
Here
screen.
you
I'm looking
go.
over, I'm like, Derek, you can look. Wait a second. It's not showing. What the hell? All right. So here's number 4. Number 3. Number 2. Number 1. All right, Derek, look now.
No, somebody ring the bell. All right.
We're a classy show here, guys. You get everything right.
I also had another cat that only lasted 7 years or 9 years, I guess. But wasn't sure. She seemed kind of sick. And then this is during the whole beer bug thing. And she disappeared to the basement. So the next morning I woke up, went down in the basement going, hey, kitty, you want your food? And she was dead and stiff. Yep. So she died down there in the basement. She had actually created a little cubby. She knew she was going to die. It was weird. She was fine. And then all of a sudden she just wasn't. And I'm like, oh, she's acting weird. Oh, but she went downstairs. Okay. That's not totally abnormal. Woke up in the morning, she was dead. There you go. The Beatles. No, but it was one of the Beatles, Al. After. Which one is the question?
Ringo.
No. Although,
speaking of cats, when we moved sorry, you were going to say something about Ringo there, so you might as well.
Yeah, although poor Ringo had to sing a lot of the guy's songs that this particular person in the band wrote for him when he was at the Beatles. Paul, yes. Remember Octopus's Garden and all those crappy songs that Ringo had to sing? There you go. That was Paul. Poor guy. But this song's a lot better than that.
So when back in '89, when we moved to where my parents live now, one of my aunts on my mom's side, opted to give us a nice housewarming present, which was a not baby, it's kind of like a year-old cat, but the cat was one of her barn cats, which is just sort of like the cats just found their way to the barn type thing.
They do that.
That cat lived for about 17 years.
Yeah.
And she spent most of her life outside, 5 days at a time. She'd be gone. 5 days later, she'd come back and I couldn't catch the mice. Give me some food. I want some food. You know?
Yeah.
Towards the end of it, she started to become senile. She, instead of using her litter box, she decided to shit up a wall. She must have arched up and went on 2 legs and pooped right across the wall. That's fascinating how it happened. Extremely
odd.
So,
all right.
Yeah, it was. I think it was one of my dad's happiest days. When it was time to put that cat down, he's like, "I'm tired of this fucking thing."
All right, I had a beer overspill there.
Oh,
that's not good. No,
you're like that one guy that we covered, right?
I mean, to the point where I can't hold it up to the camera. It's a delirium.
You're drinking milk.
No, it's called Delirium Tremens. It's another Belgian ale.
Oh,
there it is.
It's like rum chata.
Yeah, but it's not. Family brewery right there in Belgium. Good stuff. Good stuff. Pours nice and crisply blonde. Look at that.
A lot of head.
Yeah, no, that was the bottle's issue, apparently. Oh. Hopefully the other 3 don't have this issue. Okay, so I was going to ask you this question to see what your answer was.
Okay.
What's the one thing you don't think about the first time you meet someone?
What I don't think?
You don't think. It's something that's so ridiculous. Of course, no one would think that you would think that when you meet them, but it might be something you might think about. But I don't know. But you definitely
I hope
would.
they bathe more than once a week.
Is that so? You don't think about that? Of course, if they,
I don't think about it because I'm hoping they do.
We're not going to have contact with this person, are you?
Not this particular person now.
Yeah, anyhow, it's one of those weird things I thought about when I was on the toilet the other day at work. I was thinking, you know what? Because the men's bathroom is the door opens up, and within 3 steps, you're crossing the hallway in front of one of our other offices, which is our harm reduction team. And I just wonder, they watch people go in and out of there all day and think, God, I wonder what he's doing in there for so long. You know, I mean, does he have an issue? Why is he's been in there 5 times today? Ooh, God, you think he's, you know, I'm just wondering.
You know, sometimes you just got to get away from everybody. And this is why it's called like the male's throne, you know?
I know. I don't like the bathroom being, and the reason is when I worked for Hope at one point, I had an office directly across from the bathroom. Okay. So basically you have my door to my office, and straight ahead was the men's bathroom. And I got to tell you, I lost a lot of respect for people in like the next 6 months. And then I demanded an office change.
How often you're sitting there staring as they walk in there?
It was the noises, dude. The noises coming out of there were horrific. And
Who does number 2 work for?
And then the stench, right? Sometimes a certain dude would leave, and you go, he'd just leave that door open a little too long as he swung out of his office, and that would waft into my office. I had to open the window behind me. It was horrible. It's the worst office ever. The worst office.
You're starting to sit there and you're like, oh, well, it smells like it smells like Tyler had Mexican last night.
You got really way too familiar with everybody's fucking shitting habits in the bath. And that's not just the men, because it wasn't the men's bathroom. I'm sorry. It was men's, and it was a shared fucking universal.
Very progressive of your company.
Even worse. So it's like the girls go in there too, and they'd come out and you'd be like, oh, she's not attractive anymore. Oh my God. What did she do in there?
It's more like she goes in there. It's like, oh my God, I'll wait. All right. So we have some of the chat. We have some of the chat saying what they wouldn't think of when they first meet somebody.
What's that? Her dad. Yeah. Their parents.
And ironically, before he even mentioned doing this thing about this in the bathroom,
when they last took a shit, they douche? ? I think her Sicilian father.
Hopefully, that's not just a statement. They douche.
Yeah, I mean, there are things like I think the one thing nobody really you poop at work, psycho. Well, what do you do? Shit in your pants?
Got a new nickname.
Derek Mudbutt. Richie. I didn't even Richie, by the way, added the while because Pete keeps calling me that, and he knows my name is Richie, but that's okay. Yeah, so I was thinking taking a shit is one thing. When I meet anybody, I don't think, wonder how they take a shit. Like that's just something that never comes up in my mind.
That's at least third date material there, Derek. Come on.
I don't ever think, I wonder if she shaves her beaver. I don't ever think that. Do you think that?
Sure.
Have you ever thought that?
Yeah.
Huh. I've never really thought about that before. I mean, I do if things move into an interesting conversation and things might be headed in a certain direction. But that was years ago.
That's the big talking point between males and females in the sense that first impression, and a lot of the girls you talk to like, oh, it's not about looks, not about looks. I'm like, no, actually, first impression is 100% looks. Because you're making your first impression of somebody is whether or not you want to go up and talk to them. And then after that, and you start talking to them, then you start listening to personality traits and stuff like that. But your first impression, like there could be a guy at the end of the bar for a girl, of course, not me, but for a girl, that is fuck ugly. Okay? But maybe he's like the perfect match for her. She's not gonna go talk to him. Because first impressions, that alone, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, unless he was the life of the party or something. Like
sure, there could be other outliers there, yes.
Yeah. So if he's obviously the life of the party and everybody wants to be his friend, then her attitude might change. And I think that goes for all of us for the most part. I wonder why everybody.
I still think your first impression would be the looks, because then all of a sudden you're starting to see the personality, and that's a different trait afterwards.
Oh, you still might think, why does everybody so interested in that ugly motherfucker? You might still think that.
And then you go there, yeah.
It's like that redheaded British musician, whatever his name is. The redheaded British musician. Who's that guy?
The what?
The redheaded, ugly ass British musician. The red-headed, ugly-ass British musician. Nobody knows who this is. Everybody knows who this
Jonathan
is.
Rupert put Carrot Top. And that was the first thing that went to my mind, but he's not British, nor is he a musician.
No, he's American.
So by that logic, you think girls have found you super attractive? Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah, 20 years ago, dude.
No.
It's been a long time.
I got this on, so it kind of words them off at that point.
Really does. Yeah, I'm sure they're staring at your head.
How about this guy?
Staring at your head. Ed Sheeran, thank you.
Oh, there he is. John had him too.
Ed Sheeran is hot. He is under his armpits. Other than that, I don't know. He's not the most attractive.
A lot of people are calling you out on this. He's ugly.
I think he's rather unattractive.
He's not conventionally attractive. We'll put it that way.
No, but he's talented.
The intro here. He is very talented. Yeah.
Talented, and that's why the chicks dig him. No, he's also rich. Come on. All right, let's move on to soccer. It's enough of this ridiculous.
Let's kind of move on to soccer. Let's move on to some fun topics here. While we're talking about fun topics, let's talk about the weather. That's fun beautiful, topic, right? Yeah,
it's beautiful.
Nice here. Outside right now. It's going to rain tomorrow, and this isn't the topic that I was going to bring up here, but I sent Derek a text. I think it was this morning, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I got a notification from my my weather report saying like, here in Indy, you got a red flag warning. I'm like, what the fuck's a red flag?
It was on my computer. It was on my laptop.
And I looked at it. It's like there's a fire warning for Central Indiana. I'm like,
no, there isn't.
In what world is there a fire warning? Are you predicting arsonists? Because it literally just rained 2 days earlier this week, and it's supposed to rain tomorrow. I don't think we're going to have any rain problem. Plus, the water table here in Indiana is so fucking high.
And it's not hot enough. It's stupid. It's so stupid.
I don't know what it was. Yeah.
Another gal at work had it on her computer too, and she brought it up. I didn't even bring it up. She's like, "Are you getting these stupid warnings on your fucking laptop for the weather and the fire warning?" I mean, I'm like, "Yeah, I just ignored it. It's stupid as hell."
I think that California stole our rain and we stole their wildfires.
I guess.
How is this happening? It's so weird.
Fucking ridiculous. All right. Yeah, that's the weather there. Everyone in chat, close your eyes, and listen to Ray Romano talking about soccer and shaved beavers.
Mulligan. All right, while we're talking about the weather, let's go.
Okay. Let's see. That's a little small.
African Stew says, Derek and Brett, basically, I know you guys would love this. So I said, yes, show fodder for tonight. And
what
has
is
to do with weather. We're going to zoom in so you can see this properly.
Okay.
I mean, come on.
Well done.
Somebody made this up. There's not really a Sac City that happened to have fallen in that equivalent of a 10-incher, you know?
That'd be Sacramento, wouldn't it?
Sac City?
Is there really a town named Pocahontas? Seriously? Storm Lake? I don't know. Storm Lake sounds believable. Yeah. I don't know about Sac City, but yeah, that's clearly
this is
a
too
phallus.
Perfect, really. Come on.
It's clearly a phallus. By the way, the word of the night on Pete and Tack Show last night was flaccid. Flaccid.
Yeah. Okay. So they're starting. I feel like we're kind of rubbing off on them.
No. I gave them.
Oh, you were trying to get. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, but
I thought you were saying that the word of the night for them was that.
No.
I would have impressed.
No, they were bringing up how does everybody feel about this game, and my reaction was flaccid. Which they read
says this is actually a Dicknado.
A Dicknado, yes, it's a movie waiting to come. It's like
now,
the giant.
It would have been better if there were like little dashes of red coming out here.
Just little spots. I think there's a splash of yellow at the tip.
Yeah.
So
he's been circumcised.
No, I mean in front of the tip.
Oh, here?
There it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a shot out of out of the camera's view.
He's like, wait.
Yes, we do like this. God. This is good.
It's too good to be true. It has to be somebody who just created a model of something and did this because there's no way that's real.
I mean, I'm not looking
Possible,
it up.
but no way. Come on.
It's very possible. Yes, it is. All right. Next.
Derek, while in Bloomington, did you
Mhm.
partake in any Bloomington breweries? Some beer from local breweries?
Well,
Sure you've
there's
had.
the big one, obviously, which
Upland.
is Upland. That was the first big one. And then, yeah, there have been more since then. But you know what? None of them made Belgians. So I just started to kind of ignore them.
Did you ever partake in the Bloomington Brewing Company?
Yes. Yeah, I have.
So
Why?
Berlin brings this up because we were talking about beer. Dispossessed had talked about how he popped open a Bud Light, and I'm like, why would you pop open a Bud Light? You know,
Yeah.
forget the reasons why you even have a Bud Light, but at that point, you still have to consume that. So we were talking about local beers, and Berlin brought up the BBC, the Bloomington Brewing Company.
It's what makes us so very special.
Every guy in Bloomington has had a BBC. It's what makes every guy so special. The Turd's wife is a regular.
Oh, Berlin throwing a little shade at the Turd there.
So yeah, so he had
basically implying he's hooked up with her. Yeah,
a British Bloomington. No, he was talking about the British Broadcasting Company, right? No, let's talk about big black cocks.
I guess that is the term they use on the porn sites,
Yeah.
right? BBC.
Yeah. So he followed up with saying that was written in the BBC bathroom stalls in Bloomington. He talks about some stuff here about the ecosystem not being able to predict or not being able to figure out what makes an actual center forward a center forward.
Oh yeah, we're going back to that again. Listen,
Briefly.
I'm sure there is some validity to the argument. I don't think it's a universal one unless we stop learning how to make them. We did have a guy not long ago named Brian McBride, and then Dempsey turned out to be a pretty decent center forward when he stopped playing midfield.
Well, this was in response to the fact that Jesus Ferreira ended up getting man of the match and was the highest rated player for scoring that goal.
Oh, you want to go there now?
No. I'm saying this is in reference to it, so that's why he's talking about it. The center forward aspect.
Well, I mean, we might as well talk about it now.
Oh, we're going to jump into that at the very beginning. That's our last topic of the night. Do you really want to?
Yeah, but no, it has to be talked about because he brought it up. So now we just got to go for it because this is just how fucking tone deaf U.S. soccer has become. Really.
Well, first off, before we get to that, let's talk about our options for the U.S. or the man of the match nominees.
Morris and Yedlin and Jesus. You know, I guess
you can make the argument for Morris. I think you can make the argument for Morris. He got the assist, plus he had some opportunities throughout the match.
Well, he's certainly a lot more dangerous than Cowell or Jesus for the most of the game.
I almost forgot Cowell played most of that match. But yeah, Jesus was we'll get into more detail here about the match itself later, but we can talk about this. But what the fuck did Yedlin do to earn this? I don't know what happened there.
He had a better second half when we went to 3 in the back, but that's about all I can think of. And then Morris, the only thing he really did was just look really confident, and he went for it.
I wish he would have gotten more. I wish he would have been a little more selfish throughout the match, though.
Yeah, there were times he should have shot instead of passed. But
dribble your man, rip that shot, dude. Come on,
Well, that's what happens when you put Morris on a wing instead of playing him as a center forward, which is probably where they should have moved him after Ferreira stunk up the whole first half and Vasquez touched the ball 2 times. Just put Morris in the middle. He's been scoring goals for Seattle all season there. Why keep him out wide? I mean, certainly somebody else could play out wide. Stick Ferreira out there. At least he'll go fuck it up out wide instead of fucking up, or not getting the ball in the box and doing nothing with it, which is what he did all game. Lose the ball, make bad passes, lose the ball, horrible first touch, horrible first touch.
Yeah. I had this long back and forth with one of our listeners, and he's like, hey, rewatch the first half, get back to me, and he's going to do it too. I might sit down and watch it, but I went back through my play-by-play because I did a play-by-play on Twitter, and I literally wrote, it was like 20 minutes in, and everything Jesus' touch has been bad. Poor first touches, errant passes.
Yep.
And I can't imagine for the next 20 minutes of the match that actually got any better because we didn't create anything after that point.
Yeah. I think rewarding a guy with man of the match for a tap-in is absurd. It's absurd. It's basically saying, you guys are so fucking stupid. We're going to get this guy the man of the match anyhow because you don't know the difference.
There's so many people backing this up in a sense because I mean I'll bring Lawless up and I don't have his thing pulled up here, but he's like, yes, wasn't Jesus' game. He didn't play well, but he did get the equalizer, and that's all the people are going to remember. And I agree with that 100%. But
all the people are going to no. Yeah. I'm sorry, Lawless is wrong. He's dead wrong. We remember a lot more of what went on in that game than his tap-in. So, you have to not be paying attention to not notice how bad he was.
That's the thing that's going to lead me to the next thing because there were a number of people I saw on Twitter where they're simply like, "Hey, let's just be happy and support the players. He got the goal. We should just be happy about that." And
are we going back to the people who fucking think because they're human beings and they play hard for the U.S. men's national team that they're not allowed to be fucking criticized? Are we talking about these people?
Yeah,
basically the same fucking crop of people.
You basically just need to support the team regardless of who's playing out there and how they're playing. It was what a lot of them allude to.
I'm sorry, being a human being is not. That's not the only qualification, and it's like it's a bottom line thing.
It's got the badge. You
kind
for him.
I
want Jesus to do incredibly well. I really do. Not because I think he's a great player, but he does represent the United States. But I will call it out for what it is when he has a bad game, just like we do with everybody else.
I don't know if it's a matter of want. I mean, you can want all you want, right? But I think it's just a matter of being objective and watching the game. I mean, I'd be happy for any guy that plays really well and shows that he's got potential to be a future player for this team. That's the kind of guy I'm going to get behind. But this is not what I've seen from Ferreira. We all know who this guy is at this point. We've talked about it till we're blue in the face. He's not a 9. He's not even a fucking 10, apparently, after last night's game. So what the fuck is he? And then we actually could get, and we will later, into the interview that Hudson did, and he doesn't know either what he is.
Yeah,
he's very interesting, is what he says.
I'm looking for a. Here we go. This is it. I was looking for. Brettos had a comment as well that ranked up there with it.
When you score an equalizing goal in the 81st minute against your biggest rival, the normal protocol anywhere in the world is to celebrate that player. Max, what are you doing? What are you doing, dude? Come on, man. Listen, Max hasn't been on the show ever again. We're arguing about this quote because this is not how things work, dude. Listen, this game meant nothing. So, yes, okay, it was a rivalry, I guess. Yeah, it's Mexico. So what? It's their BC team and it's our D team or whatever. Okay, no, the whole purpose of this game is to learn about who's going to really be able to contribute in a future game for the United States of America. So I hope, Max, after you were done clapping for it and celebrating it, you also went back through the tape and went, wow, this kid's just not good enough to be on this team going forward.
And,
you know?
Yeah, and I applauded the goal. You know, he was in the right place at the right time, and the ball happened to fall at his feet, and he put it away. People have missed easier opportunities in the past, so congrats for that. But it doesn't take it away from the performance as a whole. And that was another thing that a lot of people were bringing up, like, eating, whether it's eating popcorn or just, like, oh, I fell asleep during the match. I know this was Sam mentioned this. I fell asleep during the match, and then I saw that Ferreira scored the goal. I knew Twitter was going to blow up about it. Like, it wasn't the fact that he scored the goal. You know,
is this our Sam?
Yeah. It wasn't the fact that he scored the goal that Twitter's going to blow up. It's because the 90 minutes as a whole, before and after the goal, that he played like crap.
So
or
when
just
you
sport in general.
When you celebrated, Brett, did you clap? Did you go, yes? Did you?
You know, that type of a thing.
So you didn't really celebrate.
No, I didn't pop open the bubbly or anything like that. No.
You didn't go or anything like that?
I'm not a barking seal.
I know. I'm just wondering because you said, when he scored, I celebrated. I'm like, no, you didn't.
Oh, no. Okay. So I was happy he scored, and I like seeing the U.S. get results, especially against Mexico. Yes. Just like I'd be happy if Zardes get his goal, doesn't mean that I think that he's a deserving player for the national team at that point.
You know how I reacted? I said, fine. That's how I reacted.
More along the lines like, fuck, Twitter's going to be a lot of fun tomorrow.
Fine. No, I just thought it was fine. Good. Okay, it's a tie. A meaningless game by a twat who played the full 90 minutes and did a tap-in. I'm sorry to call him a twat. It's not his fault that he's not good enough to play for us, the full team, going forward. I just don't think he is. But then again, what did Vasquez do? He didn't do much either because he didn't get a chance to. So, sweet click bait.
I think it's supposed to be title, boys.
Sweet clickbait title, boys. So yeah, Brett's title made it look like we thought.
Well, no, the title is the one that you gave me. He might be referring to the thumbnail. No,
it's the thumbnail.
Yeah,
we did not think he was man of the match at all. That we will leave that to Max, apparently, and other people.
There, come on.
Yours had a question mark? No, it didn't. It was a statement.
Was it a statement?
Yes. In fact, I think you added an exclamation mark to the end of it.
Oh, and it's sarcasm there. Come on. There's a ... I mean, come on. It's like man of the match.
You misguiding motherfucker.
It's a yes. It's the idea behind it is yes. You read that right. Man of the match type of thing.
Oh well.
That's why there's a ... at being like.
With our opinions, I don't think anybody would think we put something like that in there. But I mean, you definitely you could have put like a whoopee cushion next to it, right? And that would have let us know that you were just.
I did this all at the last second. The funny thing is that StreamYards is still blocked in my school,
right?
And I'm like, this is getting out of control because it's been blocked for like a month and a half, and I've been going out to like Kroger to eat lunch, and I've been just setting it up there after I eat.
Right. Yeah.
And then now Monday it was available. I could access it at school. So I was like, oh, cool, it's back. And then today it was blocked again. So I called my brother who runs all that shit. I'm like, dude, why are you blocking StreamYards? He goes, what the hell StreamYards? I'm like, it's a shit that I set up our podcast with. And he goes, oh. There, now it's good for IT people to use.
Oh my god. Why does your brother block that in the first place? What is this?
It's all lumped into a category. So streaming services are blocked in general. So,
well, it's all fixed. I mean, the whole point is here. I'm sorry that I'm okay. Let's just put it this way: Max can think whatever he wants, but what I think he's fighting here is an uphill battle. I just think that by writing something like this, it's just. It's so blatant what you're trying to do or what you're trying to say. You're trying to basically say to a lot of other people that their criticism of Ferreira is invalid. It's not valid, because emotionally, here's where you're supposed to be. Like he's saying, here's a pocket, and you need to be in this pocket. And if you don't fit in this pocket, there's something wrong with you because the rest of the world would fit in this pocket. And I would totally disagree with him. There were so many times for the German national team that, there was a guy who played horrible all game. And yes, did he score a goal at the end? Okay, yes, he did. But guess what? The German press still ate this motherfucker up. What's his name? Ozil?
Okay.
Yeah. So, and they ate him up for a lot of reasons.
Just look at the English fans. I mean, they may celebrate the goal and they may celebrate the result, but they'll come back and they'll flat out rip him a new one and say, dude, he was shit the entire match.
And it's not like we won the game. We just didn't lose it.
Yeah.
And there wasn't even a cockfight or something to sort it out at the end to find out if there was a winner. So, I don't know. I mean, I wish Max wouldn't say things like this because it really makes him look like he's a judgmental guy. Where he's saying, well, you're just a bitcher and moaner if you're not celebrating. And I just don't think that's fair. I just don't. We're all here to analyze the game because we want what's best for the United States men's national team. And placating a poor performance is not how you do it. It was a poor performance. And I realize these guys have only been around each other for, like a week leading up to the game. And,
Okay, so that's another conversation that's been going around the Twits. Is that it's a bunch of people that haven't really played together. Every single player, barring Vasquez and Cowell, on that starting 11 was a pretty solid enough, consistent contributor throughout qualifying. Like a contributor as far as just being in camp. They've been around each other enough, quite frankly.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is these guys don't get to start. They don't get to play together. There's something to be said about that. That's why it didn't look very good. There were certainly a lot more players on the Mexican club who, well, maybe that's not true either. But I mean, I get it. Zimmerman is used to playing next to Long. That shouldn't be an issue.
Acosta's played next to both of them before.
Yedlin's played out right before. Guess has played out left. It's pretty much
Morris is when healthy and on the roster has played with them at times. He even got World Cup minutes.
Yeah, but it was a different formation that this klutzy group had never played before. The 4-2-3-1.
Yes, you can make that argument. Yeah.
So I don't know. There's something to that, but that's not really the only thing you look at. You can say that that's not a 100% excuse for why they played poorly. A lot of them were getting shut down a lot quicker than they were used to being shut down, and they just collapsed under that pressure. I'm talking about Ferreira mostly. Like in MLS, Ferreira gets the ball. Sometimes he just gets to fucking play with the ball, right? Like he's itching his own nuts. Well, you don't get to do that in a game like this because you're closed down. And so you got to make a quick decision. You got to know one step ahead what you're going to do. And he never did. So which one do you want me to read?
We'll come back to Nate in just a second because we jump back to Ferreira real quick. So I figured we just go ahead and hit this up on that.
Benzema, we no longer bother to look at what a guy does on the pitch, only if he has scored. But yeah, if we're getting to that point, then we're just wasting time because unless it happens over and over and over again, like if there's a guy who plays like shit every game, but he always scores, then you're just like, okay, he's going to play like shit for 80 minutes, but he's going to score. And then you just live with it, right? Because one time a game, every game. And that used to be Bamford in the old days. Remember? Bamford used to score a lot. And now he doesn't. Now
Maverick,
it's just
can you stop spamming us with that, man? It's like the fourth and fifth time I've noticed that you posted that. Yes, I did notice that Bud Light was a sponsor of Man of the Match.
Okay.
Let's get that back, buddy.
There's a lot of reasons, but I doubt Budweiser had anything to do with the Man of the Match.
No. Because there was the poll on US Twitter, and then I'm sure they had a hand in it as well. And they just labeled their sponsor on top of it. So
there was an actual poll taken to decide that Ferreira was Man of the Match?
There was you could definitely vote on it, yes.
Do we know the vote results? And did the vote results, in fact, decide who the Man of the Match was?
Oh, could take a look.
Because if that is true,
thanks, I appreciate that.
If that is true, then we can't blame U.S. Soccer for picking Ferreira as Man of the Match.
Well, who knows how much of that was? It's not U.S. Soccer. I forgot how much of that actually played a factor in it. Maybe it's a portion of the voting power, and then X, Y, and Z. I don't know.
No, since we don't know, we can't say. So we're just fucking flinging shit against the wall. I'm just saying we got to know, because I would hate to be blaming U.S. Soccer for having them picked Ferreira as Man of the Match when they didn't, in fact, pick him. We picked them. And if it's we, meaning the other we's, because we didn't pick them, that's pathetic. And then you're thinking, well, Benzema's right then, because I guess all it does is take to score a goal, a tap-in goal at the end of the game.
You have to download the official U.S. Soccer app to even vote. So I'm not doing that. And on top of that, I have no idea how it actually turned out.
Yeah, so maybe someone in the chat knows or in the comments knows, but let us know if you know. I don't know. I always assumed that
on the app, Jesus was miles ahead on the voting. So
how is that possible? How could he possibly be ahead of Morris, who totally outplayed him the whole fucking match? And that's not saying much, because it didn't take much to outplay Jesus. I'm sorry, there are only so many bonus points you get for scoring a fucking goal.
Yeah, John says, I voted to see the results and it was like 70% for Jesus.
That's atrocious. I don't know who's on the app then. If you have to have
Maverick
the app
also
to
said it's
vote.
pretty sure it was just a vote.
Yep.
Okay.
There you go. Can't blame U.S. Soccer.
There are enough normies, and I'm guessing not Sam's Army, but American Outlaws probably voted. We're probably the bulk of the votes.
So now we're saying
how many normal people who watch U.S. men's national team games actually have that fucking app?
Well, I guess the real question then is how many people who watch the United States men's national team, number one, know what the fuck they're watching?
Yeah.
That's the real question. Because if you have the audacity to vote for him as man of the match, then you forgot to watch Sands. You forgot to watch Morris. You forgot to watch
Sands didn't score a goal, Derek, or assist. I mean, how could he be considered?
Yeah, but he was the only stability we had in the midfield the whole fucking game.
So, yeah, that was Nate's comment. I wonder how far back it really is. But basically, he's talking about it's a sad situation with areas. It's an uneventful night when James Sands at the 6 makes the case for man of the match, at least in the first half. Decide to do something productive for my eyes and go to sleep.
Yeah. So, I mean, wasn't it Dest who's the one who broke out of that back and made that run?
We're going to talk about the goal here. What ended up happening is Miazga tried to one-up Aaron Long and give away possession in our defensive third that resulted in that crossbar or the post hit.
Yes.
And shitting a brick, Miazga got rid of the ball as soon as possible within the box and did a little chip over to Dest. And Dest ran onto the ball, split about 3 Mexican players. 4 Mexican players. And then tapped it over to Sonora.
Yeah.
Who then found Morris, who then found Jesus.
Sort of, because the Mexican guy actually tapped
a little deflection. Deflected it right into Jesus' path.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we're handing out bonus points, shouldn't Morris get one for an assist as well? So that makes them equal, right, Jesus? I mean, really, what was harder? Morris's cross or Ferreira's tap-in? What was more difficult?
One was the outside of the boot, threading a needle.
Right foot, yeah. What was harder, Dest dribbling through 4 of his opponents or Ferreira's tap-in? I don't know. I don't care. I don't care anymore. Listen, that's crazy to me that he was man of the match. I mean, it's like rewarding a guy for having an atrocious game. It's rewarding a guy for having an atrocious game.
Ken Pete, trust me, we'll get to your comment in just a second. Let's hit Zachy real quick.
Thanks, Zach. We appreciate it for $4.99. I watched Cocaine Bear before the match to help hype me up for the match. Turns out everyone
to take cocaine before the match.
No, I've never done it. Turns out everyone on the field needed some. I was thinking that too.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's funny because we have these two dichotomies. Under Greg, we often look like we had taken way too much cocaine and we were spazzes and we couldn't connect 2 fucking dots, right? And then yesterday we looked like lethargic and slow and like our brains weren't turned on. And we couldn't see a pass ahead of ourselves. Every we get the ball, then they look up. Okay, where do I put? Oh, I'm going to pass it over here. How many sideways and fucking backwards passes? I mean, it was just atrocious. And then for a long time, we didn't have possession of the ball. So, Greg Berhalter's puppy, I turned it off when Miazga came in. Okay. I understand why. Goalie sucked on play, too.
So, John Johnson is a weird person to talk about in this one, man, because his distribution royally sucked. Like awful. Like he was calling back to his Chicago days. That's how bad it was.
When has his distribution ever really been that stellar? Never.
It's been light years better than what we saw last night. Last night was just absolutely atrocious. I almost had him marked as worse than Ferreira. But in the second half, he had a couple of really good key saves that you had to prop him back up. I mean, he sucked a lot of that match when it came to getting the ball off his feet. At that point, I can't imagine him being called up. He might get called up, but I can't imagine him actually playing another match.
Again, isn't this a great time to test out somebody like Celentano?
I mean, I would have thought so.
Wouldn't it have been a nice thing to do? And then,
well, the entire roster, the entire lineup was incredibly passive and timid. It was just they put it in. Our two center backs would do nothing more than just pass it to the side and do simple things. They wouldn't actually try to do it. When they did go long ball, they were garbage long balls.
So here's the explanation I got from a source on why we don't play players like Celentano, or why we didn't get to see Josh Winder last night, why we didn't get to see new people, right? It's got to the point, and I quote, that even friendlies must be won, no matter what the stake in the game, even if it's 0. The focus is on winning first, not testing, learning, seeing new players. Why? Because what the U.S. did in the World Cup, as far as the average American sports fan sees it, was nothing more than nice. It was decent, quote. It wasn't mind-blowing. The average fan didn't turn into a U.S. men's national team believer. And the believers weren't, I guess, because the quote ends there. I'm going to flip the page over. But there was also no Landon Donovan last-minute goal, no crushing of Portugal. In short, the World Cup kind of came and went. It probably didn't win any new fans over. I've even heard people say, I thought this was our greatest generation. Is that all we got? Color me unimpressed. So U.S. soccer can't let things in any way perceivably go backwards, i.e. a loss, even if it is the ham sandwich cup, he quoted me, we must win over having people like Atencio. We must win over having people like Keaton Parks. Those guys lack chemistry. So you can tell he's replying to a direct question I sent him, but I'm not going to say who it is. So, so that's why that's the theory from somebody in the inside of why we're not seeing people that we want to see, or people that I think need to be challenged. Because if you go down this lineup, and we'll get to the quotes later from Hudson, there's just not a lot of people here who have made a case for themselves as, people who are going to contribute to the U.S. men's national team, full team, in the future. And you'd like to see that.
How many of the starting 11 yesterday do you think would actually contribute moving forward?
I didn't really think many, frankly. And, and I think Heath might have put this on his show the best. He's like, well, what did you expect? And he's like, this is what I expected. This is exactly what I expected from this lineup. I'm not shocked. I'm not impressed, but this is what I expected. And, that's one way to put it. Like, hey, this is just what it is. It is what it is. But, why can't we take the chance to lose? This game means nothing. And I don't think Celentano loses you a game on his own.
No.
I don't think that's that big of a risk.
Well,
I do think Long can lose you a game on his own.
He did his best. But so did Cal with a backwards header straight to the Mexican attack. Miazga tried. Fortunately, he recovered. Or he recovered after the crossbar.
The bar recovered.
Yeah. So but Derek, if you were looking at the player ratings across the board on various sites, you might get a different sense of the game.
Oh,
You'd
I'm
be
sure
looking
I
at
would.
it and be like, well, you know what? The team actually played all right as a whole. I mean,
foot mob?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet it would.
Start looking through some of these.
So
let's go to the back line here.
Again, for foot mob, isn't it just like a culmination of a number of people to
That's
get
what you
this
told me.
average score?
Yeah, you said a number of people add ratings, and it kind of pulls in average, if you will.
Well, these are very charitable people. Very charitable.
I mean, John Johnson with a 6.7. I mean, like I said, I know that he made a couple of saves, but every time he touched the ball and he tried to distribute it out, it was like going out of bounds or not going to a U.S. player. It was just bad, and there's no way that you could grade him at a 6.7.
I mean, if these were percentage scores for grades, this would make sense, because obviously a 6.9 is a D. 6.0 is 1 point away from being an
But it's
F.
not. That's not what's considered. It's considered
Right.
5.
5 is average.
So
None of these guys.
Everybody on the pitch was above average.
No, they
I'm going
weren't.
to spoiler alert.
That's the scary thing.
And some that you really second guess had the best scores. Looking at you, Yedlin, you had a 7.4. Now somebody posted the FootMob stats for him, and it was like he completed like 91% of his passes, but most of his passes were back to Zimmerman or up to Morris. It wasn't really very progressive passing, and those are simple passes, and that's fine. But that's taking a stat and blowing it out of proportion.
Well, how about Morris? How about Morris busting his nuts and covering Yedlin's ass the whole first half?
Yeah.
And covering the outside winger.
I don't know.
Yedlin didn't have to.
And another spoiler alert: this is the second best score of the team. Yedlin should have been a serious contender for that man of the match.
What game did these people watch?
Zimmerman got a 6.9. I thought he was fine defensively. I thought that was about it. I mean, he didn't add much to the attack. He wasn't really pushing the ball forward. He was just like getting the ball off his foot.
Come on. This is so bad. It was so bad that when they moved to a back 3, they put Sands in as the central center back. Why? Why do you think that is? Because Sands can pass the fucking ball out of the back. Yeah. That's why.
They did that in the Gold Cup too. And if you noticed, Sands when we were in the attack, he again just like the Gold Cup against Canada before he got injured, I think. He was the center of a trio, and when we were in the attack, he would push up and almost play like a stopper.
Yeah,
you know. And that was the same thing here. You know, Zimmerman and then Long, or at that point, I guess Miazga was sitting further back behind Sands when we were in the attack. But then when we were in the defense, Sands came back into the central.
So if you've been watching the United States men's national team play with Tim Ream and what Tim Ream delivers as far as through balls, passing the ball out of the back, hitting guys with cross passes on the opposite field, then watching this must have made you really, really sick. Because both of those guys, Zimmerman and Long, did absolutely nothing with the ball out of the back. Zero. And they're incapable of it, which is why they didn't do it, right? So that makes sense. But it just makes us so handicapped if you're going to try to play out of the back.
Did you notice what the Mexican attackers were doing? They would gift the U.S. with passing it back to our center backs. And then they would just pressure at that point.
Mid-block,
it's like they're like sitting back like 10, 15 yards, like, go ahead, pass it back, do it. And then and then it would just be a fumbled pass out, or we'd be able to maneuver to the other side or whatever. But it was so predictable, and we fed it right into their hands at that point.
Yeah, what we did to England, they did to us. Mm-hmm. Which, boy, comparing those two things is already outrageous. But yeah.
And I made the comment, I was like, how many of these people do you think would be contributing moving forward? But we have to remember, come this summer, we have a Nations League and a Gold Cup, and I don't think our big Euros are going to be released for both. They're going to be released for one, guaranteed, the Nations League. Mm-hmm. And I think we're going to see what we saw last time too, where it's basically an MLS plus roster for Gold Cup. So I wouldn't be shocked to see a lot of these names come back up.
No, they will. Yedlin, Zimmerman.
These three right here, guarantee will be there. Maybe these 4. Who knows?
I mean, listen, you got to give Miazga another chance.
Yeah.
He's playing generally up until just recently with Cincinnati. He's played exceptionally well and been one of the best center backs in the league. Then you throw him on and you make him play left center back. Not exactly his forte. And I'm not making excuses for a stupid pass, but I mean, you can't just give up on a guy after one. When Long has absolutely proved at this point that he is atrocious. He's not even a regular starter for fucking his club team in MLS. So Can we stop this, please? No more Long. Give me anybody else. Anybody. Seriously. Give me anybody playing who's an American, who qualifies to play for us, who's playing well on a top 5 team in either conference.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take that guy. I don't even care if he's old.
Yeah.
Don't care. Just give me
something that'll be interesting, though, when we start looking at the Nations League and our center backs, especially, of who could be released, who's not going to be released for Gold Cup, etc. Just looking at our Eurocentric our camp and stuff like that, we didn't have CCV, we didn't have EPB. Now CCV was quote unquote injured, if you will, but we didn't have EPB. When everybody's healthy, we may not necessarily even have McKenzie as an option. So maybe our center backs will have a little more depth come Gold Cup from players who won't be included in that Nations League roster.
By the way, EPB's been playing horrible.
I don't care. Derek, him or Long? Who are you taking?
I am taking EPB over Long.
Exactly.
But I mean, listen, if we got the 2 teams, we got Nations League and we got Gold Cup. Gold Cup's going to be all the MLS guys, and Nations League is going to be the Euro guys.
Plus any Euros that are left off.
So there are going to be some Euro guys playing in the Nations League too, right? Like 4 or 5.
Oh no,
but make the team. MLS guys,
yeah.
Domestic guys are going to make the Nations League team. How many? 5 total? 5?
Maybe at most.
4? Zimmerman and whom else?
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. Maybe Morris, maybe Areola. I mean, not that I'd want them to, but I mean, I could imagine it happening.
Morris, maybe. Areola, I don't think so. Areola's more of a he's a Gold Cup guy.
I think both of them should be Gold Cup, quite frankly. I think we have enough wing presence that we don't necessarily need to spread our Gold Cup roster thin.
Unless we're still so fucked up at center forward, you want to try Morris at center forward because everybody else. But, we got Pepe. Pepe's playing well. So we don't need Ferreira. We don't need Morris.
Sargent will be there.
Sargent and Pepe. That's about all we need because we only usually play one.
Balogun if he commits, because that's the rumor that that's being passed around, that Balogun's going to commit come Nations League.
He doesn't have to. He can still wait.
I agree.
He can wait some more.
Well, that's the same topic with most duels when we talk about Jonathan Gonzalez. So it's like there's no reason why he needed to make that one-time switch at that point in this time. Now he's stuck with Mexico and he's never going to get a sniff. I mean, he was probably never going to get a sniff with the United States either. But still, there was no need to make that rash decision.
Well, speaking of rash decisions, that may be the last time Araujo ever plays for Mexico. Because that was an atrocious performance as well.
That was hysterical that he went up on that header against Cal, and he's the one who bashed Cal in the back or the side of the head. And Araujo was the one who took the worst of it. I'm like, you just hit him with the forehead. How are you taking the worst of this? Cal's like, what the fuck was that, man?
Was that
no, it was Vasquez. It was Vasquez.
Was that the correct Araujo we're talking about, though? Because there was 2 Araujos on
okay, so I'm thinking Julian, sorry.
So there was 2 Araujos. One played left back, one played right back, right center back. And our Araujo played left center back for them. So it was the Araujo twins, although they're not related to one another.
I thought our Araujo played right back, I thought.
No, they played 3 in the back, and our Araujo played left center back. As far as I remember.
I could have swore he was on the right-hand side against Cal and Dest.
Well, it gets confusing because they kept saying Araujo every time, and Araujo touched the ball. They didn't distinguish between the Araujos. They just kept saying Araujo, and from your distance watching it from the TV, you assumed it was our Araujo, our former Araujo.
He had the dyed top of his head. I thought that was him.
Well, then that would be him.
Then he was the right center back. Right center back of the trio, I guess.
I might be just flip-flopping the fields.
Maybe.
It's possible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Regardless. So let's go down a little.
How Long managed to get a 6 in this is beyond me.
That's a 4. That's a 4. A 4 to 3. Yeah.
Max a 4.
Zimmerman is a 5. He did exactly what we thought he would do.
It was Julian. It was Julian hitting Brandon. Yeah.
Okay, thanks for clarifying. On the right. I had to watch the Spanish broadcast.
Our left, their right. Yeah.
I had to watch the Spanish broadcast, so all I heard was Araujo as well, and I didn't know which one they were talking about.
So Des pulls a 6.8, which isn't bad, I guess, in comparison. But I mean,
no. 6.8. He's a 5.5 guy.
No. I'm talking about these stats, these scores in here. I'm not talking about realistically what it should have been. I'm just saying as far as the the hyper scores that the team got in this game.
Well, can't we just?
6.8? He was a ghost for a lot of the game. He didn't push up into the attack very much. Not his typical self on the right. I'm not sure why we continue pushing him as a left back option. He's not been good back there. I don't like him there. I would have rather played I would rather push Yedlin over there than keep him as the left back option.
Got to give Pete credit. He called it. This is exactly what would happen. Number 2, let's not even validate these scores. I mean, you can compare the scores.
I see what you're saying,
yeah, scores are bogus. So that's why I'm saying, what would the score really need to be? Because it's just like Acosta gets a 6.6. He played so much worse than he plays for LAFC. It's not even close.
It's so much worse than Sands.
Yeah, how is he close to Sands?
Yedlin actually outranked Ferreira.
You'd think fucking Yedlin had like an amazing game we just missed.
And when I brought that up, nobody's told me anything about him. Like, maybe I missed it, but how in the world did he possibly get that high of a score? And how is he contender for man of the match? I didn't see it.
The starting point for every player on the field at this game is a 5. You either did a little better than a 5 or you did worse than a 5, but it ain't going to be that much higher than a 5.
Cal had one play, literally one play, where he cut in and took a shot. It was deflected at the 18, and then Morris shanked it wide.
They don't even have him in his correct position either.
Well, Vasquez is apparently your left wing.
The tallest left winger you've ever seen.
And I think I sent you this as well in a text, but how long should it have taken Morris, Cal, and Ferreira to know that when our center backs are lobbing balls up in the air to Vasquez, to run behind him? Because that ball is going to get slipped 9 times out of 10. And that's exactly what happened. Nobody made the run. Mexico just jogged over, collected it, and then moved on their attack. How hard is it? I didn't realize that.
You'd think they'd never played soccer before with a fucking 6'4",
tall center back,
6'3", center forward. They're gonna slip you the header. You got to get ready to run, dumbass.
Ferreira's going. Yeah, at FC Dallas, we never lob balls, so I'm not sure how we're supposed to even play with this style. This doesn't make any sense.
They haven't lobbed balls since Pepe left.
Yeah,
that's for sure. All right, so these are atrocious, but you know who got it right?
Oddly enough,
it's amazing.
MLS. I love how they do the scale. Nightmare performance, bang average, all-time game.
I like it.
All-star game, I think, is what that should have been. No, all-star performance, type of thing.
Yeah, I get the all-time though.
All right.
Bang average. So they're saying Sean Johnson was just above bang average.
And basically, I feel like they're kind of giving him more credit on the couple saves. He says he made 2 saves on the night, which would have been 2 goals. And he made decent saves on, outweighed his poor distribution.
Yeah, it looked like he had a stroke at some point. He was so uncoordinated with his feet. All right, what do we got next? DeAndre Yedlin. That's more realistic. Thank you.
Yes.
Bang average.
I mean, again, I didn't notice much from him at all. It always surprised me when people were like, well, when he had the man of the match and the foot bump had him at the 7.4. Just what? What happened?
I don't get it.
And I incorrectly said that Yedlin was the one that passed the ball back to Long, who then flubbed it and they got the goal. Because I completely took into consideration, because I was looking to the side while I was doing it on Twitter and stuff, and I just saw the location. It looked like a right back position, but then everybody else called it as Acosta, and I looked, and it was Acosta.
I texted you that.
Yeah.
I said, can you believe that incredible combo pass between Acosta and Long?
And I believe I responded to him. I'm pretty sure that was Yedlin.
Yes. I said, no, it's Acosta.
Yeah.
All right, what else we got here? Let's keep scrolling. Zimmerman, a 6. Yeah,
I think that's better than 6.9 that Footmob gave him.
I'd give him a 5.56 is fine, I guess.
Again, I thought he was perfectly fine in the defense. And when they started lobbing balls into the box, he was able to get his head to it.
He's always good at that.
Yeah. I mean, you're expecting him to do that. But the other aspect of his game, to move the ball forward, and it's just, the long balls weren't there. No.
It's so bang average. I'm sorry. It's just hard to give him any more than like a 5.5 5. And for what? I'm not even sure why I'm going above bang average.
That's a stat. I'd love to see how many of those
attempting 12 passes into the
completed.
final third. Yeah, I guess he tried.
Which led the team. Basically meant he had 12 long balls.
Yeah.
He lobbed that ball up to Vasquez in the first half a lot. And it was what it was.
Yep.
So,
there we go. That's
that
more like it. That's more like it. Hit him right where it hurts. The truth. So, yeah, it wasn't all on him. Yes, Costa made a shitty pass.
But slow tempo.
When you're a center back, your actual real first job is like a doctor. Do no harm. So the first thing you don't do is the risky thing, which is try to cut the ball back inside.
No, it wasn't even that. He tried to do an outside of the foot pass to I guess it would have been probably Dest probably at that point. And it went right to the Mexican player who was clearly going to block that. It would have been better if he cut it back inside. Because he had all the room in the center. There
was no way he could have. His momentum was going the other direction. He should have just blasted the fucking ball out of bounds.
100%.
Done.
Just
done.
Kick it. Boot it. And if the Mexican
do no harm.
If he was going to block it, then you make sure that it's a painful block and it's deflecting off of him, not a simple pass that's easily blocked.
Yeah, you don't take risks like that 1-on-1 with a guy right up in your grill.
But he was content with slow tempo. Never really tried to find the gaps in Mexico's block. He was put in a tough position with the poor pass by Costa, but he completely misplayed. It wasn't misplayed a tackle. It was an attempted pass. Either way, he got the right. They got relatively the right score.
Yep.
Should have easily been a 3.5.
3.5. Yeah. Just again for me, outside of that one moment, which I will give him credit for, he was just bang average 2 the whole game.
He was almost non-existent. He'd covered back on the defense. He didn't offer anything in the attack. I'm standing firm on this hill. I'm going to die there probably. But he should not be a left back option because he doesn't perform there. Period.
He doesn't look comfortable. So 5.5 is fine.
Lousy doesn't describe his distribution.
Yep. Yeah, it was bad. Acosta, you could go as low as 3.5 actually, but he didn't even meet his basic average standard last night. He just didn't. He didn't.
Yeah, this is the big talk. One of the big talking points because Acosta seems to not show up when it comes to playing with like the B, C squads, and he kind of shows up when he's playing with the A. But you can see that about a lot of people. I mean, when you start playing with better players, you're going to perform better yourself.
Yeah. Makes you look a little bit better because you don't have to cover as much ground. You don't have as much responsibility. Mm-hmm. You have a responsibility. And here he had the responsibility of being one of 2 distributors from the midfield. And he could not cope with that. Again, another guy who gets closed down and can't handle it. Doesn't know what to do. Does not see one pass ahead. Ever. It doesn't seem like. So, bad game. Really poor. And it made Sands look like a fucking god, comparatively.
Come on, dude. Acosta carried the team. I didn't watch, but I know he did.
Yeah, he would want to.
One guy who did, have progressive passes forward that you might as well start cooking that crow now, Derek.
Yeah, I mean,
so if everybody remembers back on when we,
I wasn't that adamant.
We were doing the predictions for who's going to start. We did that on Mondays.
Yeah,
our show. And you had Acosta and Morris starting.
Aiden Morris,
which was fine. I mean, Aiden Morris, which would have been fine.
Sands and Morris would have been better in the end.
Well, hindsight's always 20/20, Derek.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I picked Sands, and I believe your comment to me was like Sands can't pass. And
he was better.
He had a solid performance. I don't know if 7 is. I think 7's a little too high, quite frankly.
I think so.
Yeah, I'm thinking more like a 6.5. I mean, he's definitely above average, but he also got beat quite a few times and was left in the dust. I mean, he's not the fastest fucker out there.
It's not like during his jizz shot he got her right in the eye or something. I mean, he still hit the floor. It wasn't spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't German goo girl quality. It was a dribbler, but you know what? At least he finished, and he gave it a good stroke, which is what I like.
Yeah, and I told you, and I also posted this on Twitter a couple of times actually. But Sands was my man of the match, and I'm still giving him a 6 or a 6.5. So
yeah, that's where I'd go to.
Not a great performance, but was easily, in my opinion, the man of the match.
I think 6.5 sounds fair. Yeah, okay. So you win on Sands. I was wrong.
I'm invincible.
Jordan Morris. I'd give him a 5.5 and no more. I thought he gave the most effort in the game. I thought he looked the most confident in the game. He looked like the one guy outside of Sands who was like, hey man, I'm here to rip shit up and do a fucking great job. It didn't work out for him. He, gets way too far ahead of himself sometimes. He is very right-footed still. And but he did make that right-footed pass that got there. So I give him a credit for that.
So he had the early opportunity where he took a little heavy of a touch and it kind of bounced off the goalkeeper, then bounced off him, almost went in. That would have been fun.
Yeah.
Then he had an opportunity where he brought the ball down. He beat a man on the inline, roughly speaking, and then passed it back to the PK. And the problem was that Vasquez had already pushed well beyond the PK spot, and Ferreira was just at the top of the box, so it kind of split between both of them and killed the play. So
and reached neither.
Yeah, it was kind of like the right idea, but he looked up, and he still made the bad pass there. So I don't know.
Yeah,
that's not a good thing, I guess. So not sure why I'm really talking about that as a perk, I guess, but. But then there were a couple times in the second half that I'm sitting there going like, dude, just take your man on and rip that shot. What are you doing? Why are you trying to make that easy cross for an opportunity? Just, be a striker. Take your chance.
The crosses weren't easy. They were blocked all the time. And if he had just cut into, when he was out left, he could have cut into his right foot.
He had one on the right too, where he could have cut it into he would have cut into his left.
He ain't cutting into his left. That ain't happening.
Just take him further out right then, okay?
Yeah.
And he also had, like I said, he also had that opportunity early in the second half where Cal made the cut across the box and took a shot from outside the box and deflected off the defender, but it bounced right to Morris, who took a volley and then literally put it 15 yards past the post.
He scuffed it. Yep.
Yeah. And I'm sitting there going man, he wishes he had that one back. That would have been a nice volley,
Well, you got to give this to Jordan Morris. He did not even waste any time shaking his head about it.
Yeah.
He just ran back.
He fucked it. Yep.
He didn't had any emotion whatsoever. This 5.5 is an atrocious score. I'm sorry.
Yes. Too much credit for the goal. That's all I got to say.
Before he scored the goal, what was he at? A 3?
Easily.
A 2.5?
I had mentioned the 90 minutes outside of the goal. He had 90 minutes of poor performance, and yeah, it's a broad brush. Maybe he had a couple of first touches that are fine. Maybe he had a couple of passes that were fine, but as a whole, his first touch and his passes were garbage.
I saw
just
one good through pass to Morris, and then a tap in goal. Pretty much the whole game. That sums it up. I saw way too many horrible first touches. And what is the scoring category for being a 1 on this again? On MLS's scoring system?
Was it terrible? A nightmare performance.
He was having very close to a nightmare performance.
Nothing was working for him, quite frankly. I mean, like you said, there's too many bad first touches, too many errant passes. I mean, there was nothing really to write home to at all throughout the match until that goal happened. If
you're really nice and you give him a 3, and then you bounce him up a 0.5 for the goal, which he tapped in, maybe he gets a 3.5 at best. Ferreira consistently got into excellent positions. So fucking what? But for the most of the night, either his touch or passing choices let him down.
So
The DP improved towards the end of the clash, though equalizing from point blank range isn't against a bitter rival. Who cares who the fucking rival is? He flipped between playing a number 10 and a number 9. Yeah.
So they talk about the same talking points that we made, but they still gave him a 5.5, which means that just because he got the goal, he was slightly above average in that match. And there was nothing about that performance that screamed slightly above average.
He got Doyle bonus points.
Yeah, pretty much.
Cade Cal was fucking a ghost. You might as well not have been there.
Yeah. I mean, there was a time where I was like, I forgot he was even playing. I had to look at the lineup, and I'm like, oh yeah, Cade Cal, that's right. And I think even Hudson mentioned that to him in the locker room, like, dude, you playing at all? What's happening? Because when he came out in the second half, he was a little more active. Like I said, he even dribbled his man, took that shot. It wasn't a great shot by any means. But yeah, he was an absolute ghost. And he was actually one of the players I was really interested in seeing again because he had such a great last window. He was with the United States.
Yep.
And his performance was the best I've seen from him. I'm like, oh, he's going to build on that. No, not really.
Nope. Another dual net, though, we don't have to worry about.
I don't know. Mexico might be able to use him.
No. He's not. He doesn't fit into the Mexican framework.
I'll give him this much. He's still young. He can develop. He's not going to turn into a superstar by any means, but he has time to do something with his life. Or it could just be a number of players where we've said the exact same thing. You're like, hey, he's young and he's promising.
Listen, I didn't shut the door on him, but I can tell you one thing: he ain't going to Everton, which is what everybody was saying. That ain't happening. If you think that's really going to happen, you're smoking some stuff.
Well, Derek, much like most of our transfer news, Everton was just keeping an eye on him, keeping tabs on his performances.
Should we go to Hudson's quotes after the game?
Yeah, we can go up to that. I've got we'll just run right down the list here. I've got a couple things.
Yeah, but there's
a couple of things that you've given us.
This fits into this. Hudson, his post game fits into this conversation about the team.
Okay, yeah. After we're done doing the ratings.
Yeah. I think we are done doing the ratings.
More or less here. Yeah. I mean, there's only a couple subs that get a rating. But yeah, there's only like 2 more left.
I mean, it's hard to get the subs ratings.
Brandon Vasquez with a 4.0. Outside of just being ineffective, and I think that falls more in the line with the formation and what was being asked of him. I don't know if I recall anything that he did that was bad. He was going up for the ball, and he was going up for headers a lot.
Cal touched the ball 13 times. He touched it 15. End of story. You can't touch the ball 15 times. And as you said earlier, if he's going up for headers or whatever, you've got to be making a through run, and nobody made one.
Somebody has to, because that every ball that went to Brandon at that point was just wasted. I'm sitting there like, oh my god, this is basic shit. I mean, this is a standard 4-4-2. One person's going to be doing the checking to or going up for that header. The second guy is running behind him.
Nope, that's not what happened. Yep,
not at all.
Anthony Hudson, 4.5. I don't know. I mean, I think it's fine.
The starting lineup he put out, there wouldn't be too many changes. We didn't make too many changes from that. But I mean, he also went into what I thought was the empty bucket. Other people just thought it was a 4-3-3 still.
I saw it as an empty bucket too.
Yeah, I mean, Ferreira practically played right alongside of him of Brandon the entire time. Yeah, and that opened up because the wings didn't pinch in, which with the empty bucket with Bob Bradley's empty bucket, you want to have those wings, your Donovan and Dempsey's pinch in, so they can play link up play with your 2 pivots, your Bradley and Adu or Clark, whatever. Mm-hmm. In this situation, Acosta and Sands were left out to dry because you still had your wings out wide and you had 2 strikers, and there's this huge 35-yard diameter between all your players. And Mexico just clogged that shit up.
Yep. So there's a big hole. Absolutely.
And I feel like he recognized that. He even talked about, hey, the formation, the things that we were doing this half, we're going to have to make some changes. It just wasn't working. And he came out with the standard 4-3-3 after that. And it improved. And then he started making his subs. And I was sitting there going like, wait, we're pulling Brandon and Cal out, and we're bringing in 2 center mids, or a center mid and a left back. What the hell's happening?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's happening here.
You went to 3 in the back. Yep. Went to 3 in the back and kept Sans as one of the CBs. Once I saw that, then I'm like, oh, that's what the fuck he's doing. But you're right. When those subs came in, I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? I don't understand this. We're taking out all these attacking players and putting in, guys that can't move the ball. But then again, he didn't have a whole lot of options. So I thought it was all right. Aiden Morris, yeah, he looked fine. I don't even want to.
Okay.
I can't cover this anymore.
Yeah, I would like to see an Aiden Morris start in this sense instead of this late sub. He was okay.
Should have been Morris and Sans, but we all knew it was going to be the usual guy, Acosta. Alan Sonora, there's not enough time. He had
the pass that opened up Morris.
He did.
He was okay.
He just gets a cookie for that. He doesn't even get a score. Just not enough.
Sweet chocolate chip. Oh fuck, this is oatmeal raisin, you fuckers. No, I personally love oatmeal raisin, but it's the concept of like you're thinking you're drinking water, but it's actually Sprite, and you're like, oh, what the fuck was that? It's just catches you off guard, even though you like Sprite. But
little surprise there for you. So here's the post-match thing. If we can jump to 5 minutes, I found this interesting because I did not know it to be the case, and that is this.
Oh, hold on. I gotta share audio.
Okay.
Wait. Okay. Gotta share that audio.
So I thought it was interesting because some guy asked him a question in Spanish, and this is how he answered it.
Well, clearly he must know.
Con 3
that he
defensores.
speaks Spanish.
En 2 días, el cambio de ellos.
We don't have to cover the whole thing. You can tell he can understand and speak Spanish.
His answers were very deliberate and slow, though. So it's not like he's like this super zippy Spanish speaker. He gave it a go.
He's only on week 6 of Babel there. Come on.
He's did a great job. I was very impressed, that he could speak Spanish.
For me, they would have said it in Spanish. I would have looked around like, well, we don't have an interpreter. ¿Dónde está la biblioteca?
Hey, dude.
Chicle por en la cesta.
I could have used his Spanish last night when I was forced on Peacock to watch the game in Spanish. All right, and then at 7:40, he was asked who stepped up and was impressive and can contribute going forward.
Nobody stood up.
He keeps it
evening. Are there any players in particular from this game that you'd say stepped up and really made a case for perhaps a bigger role in the national team going forward?
Sure. You're from England, huh? Wales. Oh,
he doesn't want to answer this question.
Oh, nice. That's nice.
Quite a bit more personable than Brad or Greg was.
Oh, he's a much nicer guy. You can tell he's not swarmy like Greg and arrogant and stuffed and has a big dildo jammed 2 feet up his ass. He's a really kind of free breather, not a mouth breather, and he's got a personality, right? Greg doesn't have one really.
Mm-hmm.
Greg's personality is one of mixed confusion because he's not really sure who he is and what kind of leader he's going to be. That's what he's focused on. All right,
Anthony, who stood up? Who stood out?
I think it's probably a handful of players.
There we go, handful.
I thought the subs that came on did a really good job.
Okay. A handful.
So of the handful of players, the subs came on and did a really good job.
Yeah.
So of the subs, I guess let's break that down. So obviously
Aiden.
he's singing highly of Aiden and Sonora.
Those are the only 2 people he brings up in this conversation.
Because the other ones, Wiley came in late, didn't
Too
really
late.
do anything. Who came in with Wiley?
Some other spanker. It doesn't matter. It's too late.
But then Miaz goes there too.
It was Paul McCall who came
Paul
in.
McCall, yes.
Yep. So obviously those can't be the impressive ones.
No.
He doesn't mention Miazga. He only mentions Aiden Morris and Sonora in this, which we can skip because we just told him what's coming.
Larry has already projected that Aiden Morris is following the Will Trapp or Jackson Ewell path.
I think Larry doesn't like the fact that he doesn't have a man bun. I think that upsets Larry. Aiden, work on your man bun.
I think he'll call you out on that one because he thinks you like the man buns.
Well, that's ridiculous. That's about as ridiculous as it goes. I mean, he said something like me spanking it to
Zim,
to Aaron Long.
No, it was, I thought it was Zimmerman because
this is
he
more
said
recent.
Zimmerman wasn't responsible for any of the goals in the World Cup or whatever, something like that.
No, in the one game we were talking about, and maybe another one too. But what? Saying somebody isn't responsible?
Oh, that was during the friendly or whatever that you said. Long didn't do anything bad today.
I didn't say anything. Did anything good either. I've talked about how limited Zimmerman is a player for so long. So Larry, get over it. And as far as man buns, the only one I can respect at all is Reem back there, because without Reem at the World Cup, we would have been so fucking helpless in those games.
Yeah. Do we want to continue on with where he talks about the handful?
No, we already talked about who he talks about, and that's it. He talks about Aiden Morris, and he talks about Alan Sonora very briefly.
This is way harder than saying Liberty Mutual.
This commercial's so bad. Okay, and then we go on to 11:20, and he's asked about Jesus and where he fits in.
I wanted to ask you what you make of Jesus Ferreira. We've seen him in a couple different roles now for both club and country. It seems, is he a 9, a 10? How do you find his best role?
First thing is like, who are you talking about?
Absolutely great.
Sorry, I didn't catch the name.
He's absolutely great at FC Dallas.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's interesting.
We've seen him with his club play as a 10.
So pause it.
I'm working on it. Chill.
So this is really funny. So back in the day, when I'd have somebody come over to my house and they got like a new song they want to show me that their band just wrote, right? And they put it in, they play it. And I really didn't like it, but I want to tell them necessarily that it sucked. I would say that, yeah, that's really interesting. It became a joke in my band too, because like if we were actually co-writing a song together, which we did early on, and somebody's like, well, how about this part? And I go, yeah, that's interesting. But they all knew that meant interesting meant, no, that's not good. Everybody knew that. And that's the same here. He's saying interesting because he's like, yeah, he didn't do well as a 9. He doesn't do well as a 10. I'm not. Go ahead. Now you can play it. Sorry.
Wait, real quick. Alfred auto-corrects checks his spelling. He says, Lord. But I kind of liked it how you originally did it, Alfred, because I read it with an accent. That's your Lord, Jesus. Yeah.
What am I missing?
Lord. Lord.
I'm missing some inside context for the Lord part. Why are we talking about Lord?
Jesus.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. Your Lord, Jesus. Okay.
All right. That took a little bit too much information. That took too much time there.
Yeah.
All right. It's interesting. Let's see what Jesus can do.
Done very well. This is obviously a big step up. Playing at international level, the game's a lot quicker. There's less space.
Quickly with that comment, everybody who's been a detractor of Jesus, who basically has been bagging on him since first cap, has basically said
the exact same thing,
but in the phrase of he needs to go challenge himself in Europe.
Well, that ain't gonna happen. He's not going to Europe. Nobody's this idea that all of a sudden, unless it's like Genk or Anderlecht or something like that, Jesus is not going to Europe.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It's he can go play in Austria maybe along with Soto, but he's not a real sought out guy. and he's not going to be.
Apparently, prior to signing his DP contract,
we talked about this.
FC Dallas has announced, and they talked. Apparently, I got into a conversation with the FC Dallas guy because FC Dallas management actually talked to the supporter group there and talked about when Pepe was shuttled off for $20 million. That Jesus had some offers too, but they ended up wanting to sign him to a DP contract, keep him for a little bit, and then try to up his value as a whole and make more money off of it. But there were bids and interest for his services that they basically said, nah, bro, we're good.
Dude, those offers were tiny. And
sure.
He's, again, we can.
I think Augsburg may have offered $12 million for him.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, right. Yeah. I don't know if we're talking about people monitoring him or if there were actual real bids, offers made. I've never ever heard that actually confirmed or saw a dollar amount.
Well, it's like insert team here was like, we're thinking somewhere like €750, and the FC Dallas is like, no.
I think if the offers would still be considered unacceptable at the $2 or even $4 million range for Dallas. I think they're looking to get.
You got to think about it. The kid that's playing over at Antwerp, Vines went for $2 million to Antwerp.
Yeah.
So put that into consideration. Ferreira does score goals now that Pepe's gone, and he assisted a lot of goals when Pepe was there. So you would imagine that if Vines could pull $2 million at Antwerp, you would imagine that Jesus could pull equal somewhere else in some other small league.
The offer I heard they were looking for was between $10 and $12 million. So there you go.
I said $12 million with Augsburg, but I had no idea.
So they're not going to get that kind of offer for Jesus. And if Jesus wants to go to Europe, he's going to have to take a pay cut, period. FootMob says he's worth 8.2 million euros. Don't go to FootMob, Brian. Go to Transfer Market. Don't go to FootMob. Go to Transfer Market. Unless FootMob's getting that from Transfer Market. In that case, I'm shocked he's worth $8 million. Yeah. I really am. And I don't know where anybody would. Even this guy is saying, hey, listen, he's fine as a fucking FC Dallas player because the play there is slower. It's, the space there is more open. It's not as compressed. So you have more time. You have more space to jerk off while the ball comes to you. You don't have to look up and find the next pass because in mid-stroke, once the ball gets to your feet, you can stop the jerking off and then get back to thinking about what you're going to do. So
Transfer Market has his market value at $8 million.
There you go.
But Mob was kind of right.
So Dallas asking for $10 million is over what he's worth, and I think
$8 million is over what he's worth.
I think you're going to see that continue to drop. I don't think it's going to get better. In fact, most people's values have dropped since the beer bug.
Yeah, and so, the conversation we were having with his what would be a transfer fee and all that stemmed obviously with a bunch of different variables. One of them was salary, of course, but my topic main point of this was that he just signed a DP contract, which is probably a 3+2 contract with MLS.
Yep.
So he signed with them through, I think it's like 2027. And I'm like, well, aren't there extension years at that point? So FC Dallas can hold him over until he's like 27, 28 years old. At which point he's pretty much screwed and he's going to be stuck in MLS his entire career. Unless they happen to sell him, say if he continues to do well, say the only way he's actually going to draw any interest for $8 million would be if he does well at the international level.
Yeah. I'm getting to the point where if I were watching this show, I'd turn it off because I don't want to hear anything more about fucking Jesus Ferreira for the rest of the game. Rest of the show.
Everybody's watching the show. Tell Derek to fuck off, and you keep.
I seriously cannot stand talking about this guy anymore. We've met, if it isn't any more obvious, just listen to what this coach just said. He just said what we've been saying. He just said what Pete's been saying. He just said what Tack's been saying. He just said what everybody's been saying. The same shit. He just said it, And that's what we said too. He's fine as an MLS player, but once he plays international and it's not Grenada or somebody like that, and it's Mexico, an actual real team with living, breathing players that are of, equal or better quality, he can't hack it.
But
Derek,
Ferreira is in good company with the scoring rate right now. The fact that there are only three other players who have scored 8 goals or more in their first 18 appearances for the U.S. men's national team. Landon, hold on, I got to bow to this one, I guess.
Yeah, I know.
Sure. Landon Donovan couldn't do it. Clint Dempsey couldn't do it.
Jesus Ferreira scored 8 goals in his first 18 appearances. Only 3 players have reached 8 goals in fewer appearances in program history. I don't know what Off the Jack is thinking. I don't know what point he wants to make. And he must be related to the turd, because this is the kind of announcement the turd would make.
This is fluffing, yeah.
This is fluffing. It's an announcement without context.
It's devoid of context, because if you really look at those 8 goals, he had 4 against Grenada. Stick with Grenada. And then he had 2 in a Camp Cupcake against Honduras, I think. Maybe.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
You're looking at 6 of his 8 goals against 2 teams in 18 appearances. So I mean, that means 16 matches he only scored 2 goals.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Go Jesus. Go
Larry. I see the $1. Give us your message now, buddy.
Hey, Larry.
The message didn't go through.
Thank you, Larry. We appreciate it. But we know what you're.
Is this your message you wanted to send through? Show a pic of his mom's boobs, or shut the fuck up about it.
No, wait. Show a pic of his mom boobs, or shut the fuck up.
I think there's supposed to be an S there, his mom's boobs. Because there's a picture that's gone around Twitter of like him and his brother next to his mom. And his mom is just overflowing out of her shirt.
Okay. I did not know that.
Derek, I'll see if I can find it and send it your way.
No, that's all right. I don't need
it. Thanks, I appreciate that. But yeah, so this is a silly propaganda comment that's kind of going around, and that type of conversation goes around. Yeah, but he has like 8 goals in his performance. There's not many 9s for the U.S. national team currently that has 8 goals.
This is like talking about Dirk Diggler, right? So Dirk Diggler starts his porn career. It's amazing. First 6-7 movies are fantastic. And then he can't fucking get it up again. But you're like, okay, so out of the last 12 movies, he was the star in 7 of them. So he must still be a great actor, right? Because he had 7 great movies. And in some of the movies, he did multiple scenes. And now we can't do any scenes, but he gets a tap in, right? And now we're going to count that, of course, to add on to. So basically, Dirk Diggler just squeezed one out at the end of a movie somewhere. And he gets credit for it, right? Where the truth is, whenever the quality games are up with the quality best chicks and the quality best director, Dirk Diggler's too fucked up to fucking get hard. And this is where we're at. All right. And the real problem here is that fucking Jesus Ferreira never was Dirk Diggler to begin with. He's a B-list porn actor. For Christ's sake. He B-list. He's not in John Holmes territory. He's no Mandigo. All right. He's B-list. And just because he had a couple, moments in the B-list industry does not make him an A-list actor. And that's what we just need to get over. And we just need the best actors in the A-list at this point. Studs. Guys ready to perform, if you know what I mean. Don't even need fluffers. They're ready to go when they hit the field. And Jesus also, let's be honest, has a lot of mental errors, mental issues. And I'm not downplaying those. I know those are serious things for people to overcome. But this is not going to help. if he continues to struggle like this. And even Hudson goes on in that interview and says, I was really happy. He ends this Jesus part, though. He says, and though all that, I know he's struggling, but it was good to see a smile on his face after the goal. Wow, that says a lot. That says this guy, Jesus, puts a lot of pressure on himself. He struggles with this. This is tough for him. And so the goal was the first time he's seen him crack a smile all fucking camp. You know, that's saying something. He's putting too much pressure on himself as well, Jesus. So there's so many layers to this. I think I don't want them to turn the show into a Jesus bashing show. He's a good kid. I'm sure he's a great person. And I empathize with his battling with, depression and other mental issues. But I really got to say, this has just got to be the last time I know it's not going to be, but I wish it were the last time I saw Jesus Ferreira, at least in the 18. I hope that's it. So, Dolce indeed. All right.
All right.
Delectico. Yeah. Derek, rate those. Well, Larry, I got to tell you, this is an odd thing. I'm not really a boob dude. I'm more of an ass guy. So, and I don't mean big ass. I just like a very tight one, a very well-shaped one that's in good shape. I like legs too. Legs are big, but boobs, I had a lot of girlfriends with smaller boobs and it never really bothered me. So rating these, I'd say whatever they are in their actual size is what I'd probably rate them. But they look like they're in good shape. So I'll give her that credit for her age. I don't know how old she is.
Chat's proven. So,
all right.
All right.
What else we got to move on to?
Let's see here. We got to get rid of this one.
No more Jesus for the rest of the show.
Nope. We're going to bring this back to Acosta and Long real quick.
No! I don't want to talk about these players anymore.
Well, it's a double topic to bring up, Derek. So your good friend Rob mentions U.S. U.S. fans trying to decide whether or not to blame Acosta or Long. Which one am I doing? Acosta, Long. Acosta, Long.
Yeah, I don't know. Rob doesn't know this, but Rob and I have had quite a few arguments back in the day, except the arguments were me as a form of a dog named D-Rec, so he didn't know who I was. But man, we would have the arguments. I remember I made that little post on Facebook. It's some page, I don't know which one, a U.S. soccer page, about Timmy Chandler being afraid to fly. And if you knew D-Rec back then, he was a jokester, right? But then Rob called me out like, how do you know that? What are you, some fucking insider on Timmy Chandler? Well, it just so happened that my mom had just got done being the translator in a interview with Timmy Chandler. So yeah, I got to know things about him that weren't necessarily published that others didn't. And one of them was he hates flying. Okay, so I posted that up. I didn't provide, but then Rob came after me. He's like, man, quit pretending like you know anything, dude. You're just a jokester or whatever the fuck you are, dumb dog, whatever I was. I'm like, okay, well, I do have some information. I just can't really tell you from where I got it. And they're like, yeah, whatever, dude. Like, you know anything. Only me, the great Rob Usri, whatever he pronounces his fucking last name. Only I get to know things on the inside. You don't, punk. Anyhow, he didn't know who he was arguing with at the time because I was a dog on Facebook. So anyhow, I'm glad that Rob has lightened up in his older age because he used to be a punk little bitch about 10 years ago. Matthew Osborne, Jimmy Conrad came so close last night that Aaron Long isn't good enough to be on the team, but he just couldn't find the courage to say it. You know what, Matthew? He didn't quite say it, but he did, didn't he? He did.
Yeah. I don't,
Did say it. I mean, he
I've
did.
seen
He said
snippets of
enough.
I've seen
Yeah.
snippets of some of their recent shows and stuff like that, and Jimmy is letting his emotions fly, and I'm loving it. I'm loving seeing the kind of not holding back on certain things at this point. And he was always kind of a throwing some humor here and there, but like when him and Charlie were getting in on it on the Ford talk. I think it was the Ford. Was it Ford? I forgot who was talking about at the time. Was it Pepe?
Talking about what?
Oh, it was the Nations League window, and it was Pepe. Whether Pepe should have started against or should start against El Salvador.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't play him. We played. Who did we play against El Salvador? Can't quite remember. But they kind of got in on it, and you could just see the frustration building up in Jimmy.
Mm-hmm.
And it was great to see. Because usually it's back and forth. They're like, they make a comment here or there type of thing, and they move on. But seeing the actual back and forth debating back and forth was actually good to see. But
Jimmy's
The,
pretty upset these days. Like, he's not really holding back much anymore. He's obviously, he said several times last night he was pissed watching that game. So this is legit Soviet.
In Soviet Russia.
Thank you, Larry.
Long rides you. Wait.
I'm not sure what that means, but okay.
Yeah,
I mean, I know.
Jimmy was trying to become honest. Jimmy was always honest. He was very nice about it, though.
Yeah, he stopped being nice.
Yeah. He's becoming one of us.
He stopped wording it nicely. He used to be honest, but unless you want to call, hedging your words as dishonesty. So they have to lie. I think they're getting over the fact that they really don't have to lie.
Yeah.
That they're already being cut out because of some of their earlier comments from some of their connections. And they're just going to do their show now, I think. I think they're going to just do it. I think Davies was the one that taught them to just say fuck it and say what you really believe. Yeah. But then again, Charlie is so all over the goddamn place sometimes. One day, P. Fox, the worst center ever, center forward ever. Yeah. And now he's the best one and needs to start. Yeah, so... But at least Charlie just says it like it is.
With Charlie's comments, I'm like 50-50 with him on that. And not in a way like with Lawless, where I'm like 50-50. I'm 50-50 because I'm like, sometimes his arguments, in my opinion, is just flat out wrong.
Yeah.
But then again, he's right. But that's the great thing about opinions, huh?
He's been wrong too, but he was right about Pepe. I'll give him that. He's stuck with Pepe through the thick and the thin. And I can't remember which one of those. Was it Jimmy who was like, yeah, let's give Jesus a try? I can't remember at this point.
So maybe it was Jesus, because I know Pepe played against Grenada. They won. He got like 2 goals or whatever. And everybody was thinking Pepe's going to play against El Salvador. And we didn't play him. Was it Ferreira that played, or was it Wright? Maybe, I don't know.
You were asking the wrong motherfucker.
Yeah.
All right.
It's been a day and a half since that window. Fuck if I know, dude.
Yeah, we'll just move on.
I barely remember what I had for breakfast this morning.
Memory is not my strong suit right now.
It was DK that played against El Salvador. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Well, DK's out for 6 to 8 months.
Yeah, minimum, yeah.
Yeah, so that's bad. And, horrible for him. I feel for him.
Yeah.
And,
we had our fun talking about the U.S. national team game. Probably a little early in the show because I wanted to talk about a couple other things real quick. But
okay,
let's end the show on a high.
Mm-hmm.
Given that it's 420. Yeah, let's pull this clip up right quick.
All right. Which one do you want me to read first, Mason?
Toxic Tom here says, rich famous person can't handle being on the same level playing field as the regular folk.
Over the years, I've thoroughly enjoyed connecting with you all on Twitter. Sadly, the platform is changing, so I've decided to delete my account. Oh, boo. you all can still connect with me on my other social media platforms here at Mason Mount is a fucking total cunt.comey.io. You fucking pussy.
I keep hearing this across the board, like, oh, Twitter's changed. It's no longer the place it used to be. I'm just like, again, this is the big soccer conversation. I'm like, no, I mean, do you not remember Twitter as of like the early 2010s? Like 2012, 2013, Twitter was a fucking Wild West. I mean, it was dark humor. It was all there, and then it changed, and now it's kind of going back. And quite frankly, there's not a huge difference between what I'm seeing now and what I saw 2 years ago.
No, I don't think so.
The only difference I've seen is basically the changes that Elon has made as far as what you're viewing. You know, whether it's just who you're following or the other one, whatever it's called.
You still can't threaten people. One guy told me to commit suicide. He was banned. You still can't like be outrageous. You use outrageous like fuck this, fuck that, fuck you with a baseball bat. You can't do all that. You know, it'll catch up to you and they'll warn you. Like, are you sure you really want to say that? I'm like, oh,
yes, God. I do. I wouldn't have posted it otherwise.
Okay, I'll take the word fuck out. All right, there you go.
I'll write it with silly goose.
Speaking of the word fuck, I'm really sick of YouTube. We are, without doubt, auto
limited.
Limited. They don't even watch our videos anymore. They just limit them. They don't even care.
So they throw it on limited, and then they go back and spend the next 12 hours reviewing our 2-hour show to find out if it's ad suitable. And 90% of the times, it's ad suitable. But after 12 hours, we've lost 80% of our viewers.
They've already fucked it.
Yeah.
So they're fucking us there. They're certainly fucking us on the sort of shadow ban because of the language and because of the tone of the show being, I don't know, adult words, adult themes. Well, fuck, it's not like we're advertising this fucking show to a bunch of 12-year-olds or a bunch of 8-year-olds. There's a section you get to pick, and you put a check in the box, and it says, no, this is not for children. All right? This show's not for fucking children. All right? And there's nothing wrong. What's wrong with having an adult content show?
Don't suggest our videos after FGTV or Mr. Beast videos. It's not suitable for that audience. I'm sorry, we're not. But you know what? There's still plenty of advertisers that would be more than happy to advertise on our show.
I mean, they were happy to advertise on, you know, Eddie Murphy's first comedy specials back in the fucking 90s. It didn't bother them. They thought that Andrew Dice Clay was so goddamn funny. They let him make movies, right? Yeah. And those had big sponsors on his movies. Yeah, so Little Miss Tuffet sat on her tuffet, eating her curds away. Along came a spider and sat down beside her and said, "What's in the bowl, bitch?" Like that. That was like lauded back in the day. So, what was the other one? Did you ever find
Dice funny?
What was the other one? Old Mother Hubbard went to her cupboard to get her dog a bone, but when she bent over, Rover took over and gave her a bone of her own. Yeah.
That one's pretty. I like that one.
Andrew Dice Clay was a funny motherfucker. The first time you ever saw it, you're like, that's some funny shit. Because you didn't expect it. You just didn't expect it at the time. But a few of those were really fucking funny. And then it got old real fast because you're like, okay, you got any others? Or are you just like a nursery rhyme guy? Or is that it? But yeah. All right. So
I don't know. I feel like, quite frankly, that Mason Mount is getting a little butthurt because he's getting more and more people calling him out. You know, like, I come on here and all I see are you guys calling me a tosspot, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he could do what a lot of people do, which is just make it so you can't see those people's comments.
Yeah, there's a block and a mute function for everyone. I mean, and you could. There's a lot of people you're going to block and you're muting in that sense, but here's another concept. Grow the fuck up.
Landon Donovan blocks everybody. So
people say mean things all the time. You're an adult. Suck it up, Buttercup.
Yeah, I would say. So we were going to play one of our songs tonight, but you know what? After
I got a couple things here still.
All right. Go ahead.
Derek's favorite segment at 1 hour and 55 minutes. Transfer news. That's all you got out of it, but it's there.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me that they'd be interested in a young player like Yunus Musa, and I'm sure he's young enough that they think they can still transform him into what a Dortmund player is. So I would say this one's probable.
There was another one. I guess I didn't pull up the other one too, but they talked about Gladbach as well.
Yeah. So
there's a couple of English sides that are keeping tabs on him.
No, I don't even want to hear that.
Keeping eyes,
so the thing is, the Dortmund will have competition more than likely. So we'll see, because it's going to be a bargain price because they're going to have to sell them. But then, is it going to be a bargain price? Because there'll be more than one suitor. So the price will go up. I think Valencia will be willing to sit and wait a little to get the best offer. So we'll see.
Yeah, they're having money troubles. So bargain could be had. And maybe he'll fly under the radar. Who knows?
They got a lot more than money.
While we're talking about Gladbach, let's talk about our good friend Joe Scally, who just signed till 2027.
We're liking this American boy, they say. Burberry, London, England. Man, you should be wearing some goddamn German stuff.
Yeah,
not English stuff. So he's extended it.
Should be some bratwurst coming down or something like that.
Yeah, a little sauerkraut hanging out the corner.
Yeah,
the mouth. Has extended his contract to 2027.
Another 3 seasons with him.
So no, he's not going to West Ham. No, he's not going to Man United. Or what was the other crazy one? Liverpool.
I'm sure everybody's keeping tabs on him.
Sure they are.
So
keep an eye on him.
I'm content with this. I'm happy because he's a consistent contributor there. He may not be contending for a Europa or Champions League spot by any means, but I want my players, my national team players, getting consistent playing time.
Yeah,
I don't want him going to a place where he's going to ride pine and maybe get 10 minutes here, 5 minutes there, because that's not going to do him any good. At least here he's playing in a very competitive league, and he's going to get minutes, and that's all that fucking matters.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how much better he gets than where he is now. But, I don't know if I think the ceiling's much, much, much higher. But he'll get wiser as a player.
Yeah.
The problem is, by the time a left back or a right back gets wise, most of the time they're also slow, or they've slowed down. So, what are we watching here?
We got an Aronson and Weston video.
New?
It came out. Yeah, it just came out about the Mexico U.S. friendly.
We've all played against Mexico, and we know what that game requires. So I think for the guys that are playing the game, just to give it your all, it's not going to be a football match at times. So it's more fighting and getting after it. And whoever's winning the 50-50 duels on the day, I think wins the game.
Of course,
soccer match, soccer.
It's a soccer match.
That is so funny. Wes is so good.
Oh man, that's why I was like, I wrote nice troll by Wes here, and he's right too.
That's so funny. Soccer yeah. I mean, he forgot he was talking to the American press and not the Leeds press. Come on,
they're all rocking the Leeds outfits, but it's still funny because there are people in the comment section of this video, wherever it's posted at, going, "No, it's called football, Weston."
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of those idiots lately, but they do pop up on occasion. Yeah. So, Aronson, I just hope he turns a new leaf over or something, because something's got to get better there. He's trashed pretty much universally by Leeds fans at this point because they paid $30 million fucking dollars for him. And, he's got 1 goal and 1 fucking assist or whatever. It's just got to get better. It's got to be better. All of Leeds has to be better, but thankfully they get Wober back. And I believe Nanto is scheduled to start, but we'll see.
Well, talking about turning over a new leaf. Let's talk about Weston's parent club. The Juventus. They're turning over a new leaf. Did you hear the news about Juventus?
Yeah, you got all your 15 points back.
We got all 15 points back. We're third again.
Congratulations. However, it's pending the court case. It's possible by the end of the season you could lose them all again. So
they're above relegation. So I'm not
above relegation. They're in the fucking Champions League now.
No, now they are. Yes, I'm saying if they revert back and take that 15 points back, they're above relegation.
They just knocked AC Milan out of the Champions League today with this new score. And then Inter, who was on the edge, got pushed like 2 spots down. So
Inter's in Europa qualifier right now. Milan's in Europa, and then you have Roma, Juventus, Lazio, and Napoli.
Yep, there you go. It's 15 points is kind of a chunk of points. So
it's massive. Yeah. But I mean, it's just funny. I saw it pop up. I'm like, look at that.
All
let's see.
right. Are we done?
Else? Boom. Just see if there's anything worth. We're at 2 minutes, guys. 2 minutes. Yeah, 2 minutes. You want to light me around these fuckers?
Ferreira, man of the match. Oh, God. Why is this a surprise? U.S. men's national team has no clue when it comes to CFs. Well, again, we found out that people voted on that. Yeah. Being Ace's dad, thank you for the $5, my man. Leafs fans are delusional. They think they're a big team. Like I know they were back in the day, but not anymore. They already want the new coach out. Some of them are saying that, but I think most of the calm voices are not saying that, like Joe, like Connor. They're not saying that. So I think, you're always going to have those guys who are ready to jump the gun. Like if they get rid of Gracia now, I mean, they're totally rudderless, absolutely done, cooked, finished.
Yeah.
I mean, the players are already looking finished, and I don't know. I don't think a new coach is going to help that situation. So I agree with you. That is a rash thing for some of the fans to call for at this point. You got to stick with Gracia.
Well, I mean, I think they're looking at whatever the last 4 games where they've leaked in some 15 goals. So
16, yeah,
16. I mean, this is reminiscence of whenever before Marsh came in.
Yep.
So I mean, they're like, lived through this before. This is not cool.
Well, they never gave up 16 goals in 4 games under Marsh. I can tell you that much.
No, before Marsh.
Before Marsh, they had.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm just saying the interesting part of this is that Marsh never gave up this many goals in this game, this few games. So,
yeah. Ironically, given the haphazard, chicken with your head cut off style of high press constantly, didn't leak in that many goals. I mean, considerably. They still leaked in goals, but there certainly weren't many games where it was 4 goals.
Yeah, not enough to win the game. How many of the players who played last do you think we will see in Gold Cup or Nations League? Sean,
not many in Nations League, and I see a lot of them actually in Gold Cup.
Almost all of them in Gold Cup. Yeah, maybe 3-4 guys in Nations League. My thoughts, or Dest for certain, and Zimmerman probably, but outside of that, it's anybody's guess. So, maybe Yedlin. My thoughts on the match, even though I didn't watch. I got a lot of problems with you people, and now you're going to hear about it. Okay. All right. That is it for the night. I appreciate it. We are not going to play that video because the quality sucks, Brett.
That's fine. And we're 2 hours and 5 minutes in. Maybe we'll do it another day.
Yeah, maybe we'll do another day, and we can figure out how to improve the quality because it doesn't sound that bad when I listen to it on YouTube.
Why don't you download it and tinker with it?
I can't.
Why not?
I guess I could. Yeah.
Do it on Movati.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Anyhow, we had a video.
Isn't the account that has it your account?
I have no idea how to get in that account anymore.
Fair enough.
It's so old. But anyhow, yeah, it's a 20-year-old video of me performing live with my band I just thought it'd be funny for people to see me when I was actually like younger. Be fun. But anyhow, we'll play that some other time. You can find it and listen to it in a higher quality if you go to YouTube and you look up Brando and Dandy in the Underworld together in the search section, and you will find it.
Real quick, we didn't talk
All
about
right.
Marazzo's rumors last
All
week
right.
or whatever it was, where he basically said that he's at some point in his career he's thinking about contributing back to the U.S. soccer pool of coaches, and maybe the national team could be a contender, but it's not right now.
Okay, couple things on that. Matarazzo's not part of the inside crowd. He hasn't licked anybody's asshole lately in U.S. soccer. They haven't really tracked him or followed along with what he's never been called by U.S. soccer. He's never been contacted by U.S. soccer. He's never been anything by U.S. soccer. He might as well be dead to them. He is an outsider who knows nobody at U.S. soccer. So there's strike one. Strike two, he just took this job at Hoffenheim. And I don't think they're going to, he intends to leave right now. And he's young and he can wait for the next World Cup. He didn't have to do 2026. So he's not going to like salivate all over himself and fall into their laps at U.S. soccer. So I don't think Matarazzo is really an option. I wish he were, but I don't think.
No, and I think he kind of alludes to that in his comments. He's like, hey, I'm still here coaching in Europe.
Yep.
But at some point in my career, I'll think about giving back to U.S. soccer, and basically that could be him saying, hey. It's a boys' club. I'm not part of the boys' club, so there's no reason for me to even talk about this.
Yeah, and they asked him if he'd ever been contacted by U.S. Soccer. He's no one's ever called me before. Why would they?
Yeah,
he's outside the clique. He's not one of Berhalter boys. He's not a nut snuggler. He did it on his own. He left for Europe on his own, played low-level fucking Bundesliga ball, and stayed there and became a coach.
Yeah.
They don't know who he is. They don't know him from a pile of shit in a fucking cow pasture. They have no clue who he is. They've heard of his name, maybe. And actually, the first time they heard his name is, no, we don't hire Italian coaches here in the United States men's national team, U.S. soccer. Okay, motherfuckers. He graduated from college and was born in the United States. So.
Do some fucking research. Isn't that the whole point of the sporting director?
Yeah. And we got another guy, by the way, named Fabian Hertzler, who's not classically like Matarazzo at all, but he was born in the United States. With a name like Fabian Hertzler, you would think, oh, well, that guy's probably German. Well, yeah, he is. But then again, he's also American. With a name like Pellegrino Matarazzo, you'd think you were Italian. Yeah, he is, but he's an Italian-American. So, these are two guys who are young. Keep an eye on them. Because St. Pauli has done really well under Hertzler since he got there. Hertzler. Yeah. I can't remember how his name is spelled. So keep an eye on him. Imagine if we had a competent federation. It's hard for me to imagine, Jasper, because since I've been alive, we've never had one, ever. It's always been an old boys network. It's always been a clique. It's always been, who's giving who a reach around, and it's a big giant circle jerk. Well,
you didn't see because you were watching it in Spanish, but Beasley was asking about that sporting director position, and he's like, hey, my boy Gooch is still in there,
Right. No, he's not.
Gooch he was telling Parlo, he's like, hey, what's up with that? We'll talk about Gooch, But yeah, so he's still pushing that. Maverick, I saw that you got bingo. Good work.
All right. Congratulations, my man.
If you want to send it my way, I can take a look to make sure. Just check. Last thing I want to mention, since it is 420, I do want to mention a quick story before we hit log off. Wife tells me, she goes, you're going to take the kids to gymnastics because it's 420 and I want to partake. And I'm like, okay, sure. So we come back, open the garage, and my daughter opens the door to the car and goes, oh my God, it stinks in here. And then Jack's like, oh my God, what's that smell? I'm like, oh, must be a skunk. Ah.
Yeah, this is the first show that I've done. And I did it because it is, in fact, 420 in that mind state. So, it's weird getting back to that because it's been so long since I did it. It's been a couple months since I cleaned up my act and
didn't take as many hits.
I took a lung break. I took a lung break for a while. So
I was saying jumping back in, it'd be like not drinking for a month. And that first night of drinking, you take a shot or two and you're fucked up already. Something similar to that for you? Was your tolerance so high that you haven't even teetered down past that point?
No, I mean the mix isn't that big of a deal, so I'm fine. I'll be really honest to you. This topic of today's show irritates me. I'm just being honest. I was dreading having to cover this game. I was dreading having to talk about these players. I was like, this is not going to be enjoyable. I hope we talk about anything but this game for as long as possible. But
instead, we talked about it for like an hour and 20 minutes.
Well, I was trying to get you to speed it up, but I couldn't get you to do it.
Well, we had a couple of things, but you definitely rambled yourself there, boy.
I was like, just skip this. Let's just skip all these players.
Yeah.
Let's move on. I don't even want to talk about these guys anymore. All right. I want to thank everybody that did show up, though, for these 2 hours and 11 minutes of spectacular, entertaining, whatever we call this, a show.
Content. Yeah. And the fact that you enjoyed it so much, you should go down below and hit that like button.
Yes, hit the like button. And I also ask myself why cunt is not in the table of contents. Until the next time on the Straight Right Card, we'll see you soon.
You're gonna do her. Yeah.
Oh no!